For the past year and 4 months, I've been studying Japanese in my free time for free because I do not have the money to invest in apps and courses that can make the process a little bit easier for me. And I know some of you are in the same position where you don't have the money to invest in learning Japanese and you want to start learning it in your free time. That's why in today's episode, I will share with you guys advice on how you can start learning Japanese at home for free in your free time. So the first advice is to write down why do you want to learn Japanese in order to decide what are the things you want to focus on in your learning journey and what are the things to ignore. So you're not going to waste your time and you're going to have a clear goal in the mind. For example, for me, I want to learn Japanese because I want to be able to read Japanese books and be able to speak fluently, which means I will have to focus on learning vocabulary and improving my listening and speaking skills and be able to read kanji. But at the same time, learning the strokes order for each kanji is not helpful for me and I will ignore it because I do not care about that and it is not part of my goal. Also, knowing why you want to learn Japanese helps you to keep going in the difficult days where giving up seems the best option. The second advice is to start learning the basics of the Japanese language in this app called Busu, and this app helped me so much in the beginning of my journey of learning Japanese. It helped me to learn hiragana and katakana and some basic kanji and vocabulary that is used in daily life. Also to learn some basic grammar like the phrase structure, the present and the past tense, etc. etc. And this app really helped me to reduce my stress around learning Japanese because I did not have to look for the basic things that I had to learn. I only followed their lesson and took some necessary notes, and I recommend you to do the same because the app is free and it will help you to not waste your time at the beginning trying to look for what are the basics you have to learn. Alongside with Busu, you can use this flashcard app called Anki where you can download the basic N5 and 4 vocabulary you need to learn and start practicing them daily for 5 to 10 minutes in order to memorize and learn new vocabulary through its spaced repetition method that consists of helping you remember vocabulary and recall it by showing you the same word frequently after a period of time to make sure that you will remember the word. And I recommend you to not download decks that have 1000 or 2000 or 4000 words in them because it is way too much to practice and it is gonna take a long time to finish these flashcards and it can be overwhelming as a beginner. That's why I recommend at the beginning to look for the decks that have 100 or 200 words in them and start your daily practice. The next advice is to start watching this YouTube channel called Daily Japanese with Naoko after learning some basic vocabulary in Japanese because this YouTube channel is great for beginners because Naoko makes comprehensible input videos where she speaks slowly and uses her body language and pictures to explain some hard vocabulary, and she also includes Japanese subtitles in her videos with furigana. And this is a great way to immerse yourself in the language by trying to understand what is the overall message behind the video, by trying to pick up the signs from her body language and the pictures she uses to explain her ideas to the viewer. And what I love about her videos is that you can understand 70 to 80% of what is she saying, and she also teaches vocabulary that is used in daily life. And this will help you to learn new vocabulary naturally and practice it and improve your listening skills and have fun while learning because her videos are fun to watch and they are designed with the intention to make the viewer learn Japanese while relaxing after a long day of school or work. And her videos helped me massively to learn Japanese in the beginning and not give up because she speaks slowly and I was able to follow what she was saying during the video, and that gave me so much motivation to keep going because I felt like I was progressing and learning new vocabulary. And I love her content so much, and I hope you guys will love her content too and will find it helpful. And I recommend you guys to rewatch her videos more than once to track your progress and also to notice vocabulary you did not notice in your first listen, because the more you rewatch the video, the more you will notice new things. Another YouTube channel that I have for you guys is Learn Japanese with Tanaka-san, because Tanaka-san's videos are short and they are fun and cute to watch because of the cute illustrations and animation in the video, which make it fun to learn Japanese. And also there is some videos that come with free transcripts that you can download. Also, another YouTube channel that I recommend is the Bite-sized Japanese podcast, where the host Leila talk about her daily life in Japan and discusses some various topics in her podcast. And she doesn't speak fast, which is great, but just keep in mind, if you struggle to understand everything she says, it is fine. Just keep watching her videos, and with time, you will get better. And what matters is that you are immersing yourself in the language as much as you can. And try to make sure you are watching with Japanese subtitles and avoid English subtitles, because you will not improve with them and they will hinder your progress in listening, because you will become dependent on them to understand Japanese, and that is not the goal, because the goal behind immersing yourself in the language is to read Japanese subtitles and see the structure of the phrase and get used to it and try to understand the overall message behind the video. And also, English subtitles are not 100% accurate, because it is hard for the English translation to capture the nuance of the Japanese grammar and the meaning of some certain vocabulary and phrases. Now let's address the two elephants in the room, which are grammar and kanji. For grammar, you only have to study the basic grammar to familiarize yourself with the language and understand its basic structure. But after that, I advise you to learn grammar through exposure, where whenever you watch a video or a show with Japanese subtitles and you notice a grammar rule that you don't know and it stirred your curiosity to learn more about it, you can go and watch a video on YouTube explaining the grammar rule and learn about the nuances, because the Japanese grammar is full of nuances that you need to learn about. And after understanding the grammar rule, you can immediately start exposing yourself to more Japanese content, where you can come across that grammar rule again in a different context to solidify your understanding and learn the grammar rule more naturally, because your brain starts noticing this patterns and it starts making connections and reinforcing that pattern in your memory, which makes it easier to develop that intuition around grammar. And I found this more effective instead of watching a playlist of grammar rules on YouTube for an hour or two. It is not effective at all, and I speak from personal experience, where I used to watch a playlist of Japanese rules and I will just get overwhelmed and confused by the amount of the information that I just received, because I just wanted to learn as much as I can of grammar so I can learn fast Japanese, and I ended up getting overwhelmed and just wasting my time. And now let's move on to kanji. I recommend the same thing, which is exposing yourself to Japanese words that are formed by using kanji as much as you can, because it helps you to learn the multiple pronunciations of a single kanji in a different words, and also it helps you to get an idea of what that kanji mean when you expose yourself to it that much, and you start developing the intuition of the pronunciation or the meaning of an unfamiliar word that combine kanjis that you already know. And it happened to me so many times where I came across words that were unfamiliar, but I was able to guess its meaning or its pronunciation, and after that I will check online to see if it is true or not. And sometimes I was right and sometimes I was wrong. And if you want to identify unfamiliar kanji, I have this app called Kanji Lookup, where you can draw a kanji without having to know the stroke order and get the meaning of the kanji and its pronunciation. And after passing that initial phase of being a beginner, and now like you want want to become intermediate and you want to improve your Japanese more, I do have 3 YouTube channels that you can watch to challenge yourself and expand your vocabulary and improve your listening skills. And these 4 YouTube channels are Miku Real Japanese, Yuyu no Nihongo Podcast, Sayori Seien, and Naru Nihongo no Sensei. And what I love about their content is that they speak natural Japanese and they provide definitions to some hard and advanced vocabulary during their video to help the watcher understand more what was being said. And these content creators also have podcasts that you can listen to, except for Naru Nihongo, she only makes YouTube videos, and you can listen to their podcast to train your ears into listening Japanese and understanding it without subtitles. And by the way, like if you don't understand every single thing that was being said in the podcast, that is fine. What matters is that you understand the overall message behind their episode, and try to re-listen to these podcast episodes more than once to catch new things you did not catch before. And now let's move on to the final section, which is speaking. And personally, I do not recommend to start with speaking from the beginning and only focus on input to build your vocabulary, because if you start speaking from the beginning, you will have a hard time knowing if the translation is accurate, because sometimes the translation is correct but it is not natural and it is not used in the everyday life. That's why just focus on doing input at the beginning, and after some period of time you can start with doing some shadowing practice, where you take a video and you try to repeat what the person is saying after pausing the video after each sentence, so you can get used to speaking Japanese by trying to imitate Japanese people. And what I love about shadowing is that I don't have to make my own sentences, I just repeat what was being said and that's it. And also I try to notice the mistakes that I'm making in pronunciation, because your pronunciation at the beginning, it is not going to be good and it will take practice. Sometimes you will have to repeat the phrase more than once to get comfortable with it, especially when it comes to difficult sentences. I recommend to pronounce the phrase slowly at the beginning and then repeat it more than once. And by the way, you don't have to do the shadowing practice for the whole video at once. If you get tired, you can stop the video and finish it in another time. So if you find yourself in a situation where after 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or 4 minutes, you're like, oh my god, like I can't do this anymore. This is so tiring and my vocals are so tired. Just know it's so relatable and it's fine. You can stop the video and finish it later, because it takes so much energy to do it at the beginning, because you're not used to it, but with time you're gonna get used to it. And also another speaking tip that I have for you is that you can start making your own phrases with the vocabulary you have, because it will help you to become comfortable with building your own sentences and notice the vocabulary you need to learn and also the expressions as well. For example, while like I am building my phrases, I have some moments where I'm like, how would a Japanese person express this, or what is the Japanese translation of this word that will help me express my idea? And after looking them up, I remember this vocabulary better and I start noticing it more while watching Japanese videos, and this reinforces my understanding of the word. And sometimes there is some instances where, like, when I see a word in different situations, I'm like, why did we use it in this situation? And in those situations, I try to look up online, like ask ChatGPT or look for in Reddit. Sometimes there is some Reddit posts like where they explain, and also YouTube. Like sometimes there is some YouTube videos that explain, and if I watch those videos and I'm like, now I understand, it's fine. And if I don't find anything, that helped me understand it more, I just give up and I try to just watch the video and hope that one day I can just use it without having to think about it, you know. And for the moment, shadowing and making phrases are the only practices that I'm doing, but I'm planning to start practicing on this app called Hello Talk. And if you are someone who is using this app, can you please tell me in the comments section, is it a good app or not? Because I really want to start talking to natives and get used to texting in Japanese. And also, I want to expand my vocabulary and practice all of these things that I've been learning for more than a year now. And I want to know if it's worth it or not. And if you are someone who is planning to learn Japanese, after you become comfortable with shadowing and making your own phrases, at a certain point, you need to start speaking with other native Japanese people, and don't be scared to make mistakes, you know, because it is part of the process. Hi, this is me from the future who is editing this video, and I just want to give an update situation about my speaking situation, which is I started using this app called Tandem, and I don't know like if I did pronounce it right, but I will leave the name of the app. And in that app I am actually practicing my Japanese with other native Japanese people, and so far I am loving it. And something that I noticed about the app is that you have to send messages to people as much as you can, because not everyone will respond, and there is some people like who will ghost you. And if that happens to you, don't get discouraged and just keep sending messages until you will find someone who is willing to talk to you. And that's what happened to me when I started using this app just a week ago. There are some people who did not respond to my messages, but that doesn't mean I am going to give up. I kept sending messages to other people until I came across this Japanese teacher who has been so helpful to me, and she is correcting my mistakes every time I make them, which is helping me so much in my journey of trying to improve my Japanese. I hope that this has been helpful, and just remember, the journey of learning Japanese is full of ups and downs, and don't let the downs stop you from learning, because you will have some moments in your journey where you're gonna feel like you're not making any progress, but actually you are making progress. It's just you can't see it now. And don't forget to enjoy the journey. And if you are interested to know about my own experience and the lessons that I'm learning from this experience, I have this video that I made here in YouTube about that, and you can go watch it after this video.